Discover the shocking truth behind the Victorian era's darkest secrets that haunt today. The suffocating fog rolled in, shrouding the cobbled streets of London like a dirty secret. Gas lamps flickered dimly, casting erratic shadows that danced in the corners of narrow alleyways. What really lay behind those shuttered windows? A sinister tableau of secrets long buried in the thick fog of time, just waiting to be unwrapped. Stories of the Victorian era were tangled with whispers of madness, murder, and dark enchantments. It was a time when the streets were littered with the ghosts of lives lost too soon, and the shadows seemed to have eyes that watched every move. Among the cobweb-ridden buildings, the notorious Bedlam Asylum loomed ominously, its crumbling facade like a rotting skull. People whispered of the experiments conducted behind its cold iron gates, a shadowy world so terrifying, it made the bravest souls tremble. Patients, once beautiful and vibrant, were reduced to mere shells of their former selves. Their cries, echoing in the night, hinted at a madness that stretched beyond mere insanity, a tainted legacy of the past that clung to the present like a persistent haze. Shuffling through the streets was a mysterious figure, cloaked in tattered rags. The wind howled, whipping through the alley, carrying with it an unsettling shrill. As this figure drew closer, it became clear that the person wore a mask, a haunting change from their previous identity. Some said they witnessed glimpses of horrors within the asylum's walls, horrors they couldn't unsee. People stopped, holding their breath, exchanging fearful glances. What was hidden under that mask? Was it madness or something more terrible? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As whispers swirled like the fog, the figure paused. Something glinted under the lamplight. Was it a key? It dangled from a slender finger, dripping with mystery. The crowd gasped, eyes widening. Was this the key to unlocking the forgotten past of the Victorian dark arts? Some felt a chill run down their spine while others edged closer, curiosity piqued and hearts racing. But what doors could this key open? And would the truth that lay beyond unleash horrors better left undisturbed? As the figure turned, a faint shiver slipped through the air, a promise of dread and intrigue that wrapped around everyone like a cold embrace. The night was only beginning, and the truth behind the Victorian era's darkest secrets was edging closer. The figure lifted the key slightly, letting it catch the fleeting light of the gas lamps. The crowd, entranced by the glimmering metal, leaned in closer. A woman, clutching her shawl tight around her shoulders, whispered, "What if it opens the gates of Bedlam?" Her voice was barely a tremor, quaking in the night air. The masked figure seemed to comprehend the weight of their unspoken question. With an eerie calmness, they turned again and drifted deeper into the fog. Shadows cloaked their form as they navigated through the throng of curious onlookers, entranced by the promise of danger. The gas lamps flickered like dying fireflies, drowning the street in a pulse of uncertainty. Meanwhile, a young man named Thomas squeezed through the throng, his heart pounding like a war drum. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was tied to this moment, sparked by the very darkness he'd haunted himself. He had spent too many nights inching under the oppressive shroud of the city, looking for something that would give his life meaning again. The key had a song to it, singing a tune of secrets meant for only him. "Wait!" he called, rushing after the figure. The masked stranger paused, glancing back with a tilt of their head. The street's energy folded in on itself, an expectant hush falling. "What do you know?" he pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. An unfamiliar thrill danced in his chest, spurring him as he approached, apprehensively clutching his coat. Without a word, the figure stepped closer, their breath pluming in the chilly air. You seek the heart of darkness, the figure rasped, voice low and haunting, like gravel dragged across iron. But beware, what you find may not be what you desire. Every word sent a chill spiraling through Thomas. He felt the hollow ache of longing mixed with a rush of fear. What do you mean? He whispered, trying to pierce the tight veil surrounding them. Follow. With that, the figure turned into the looming depths of an alleyway, swallowed by the inky darkness. His heart raced, a mixture of dread and excitement. Was this madness or a chance to unravel the secrets buried deep in this shadowy city? He hesitated, glancing back at the crowd, now milling in confused whispers. Their eyes gleamed with uncertainty, a mix of fear and intrigue in their expressions. Would he be a fool? Or was this the moment he long awaited, the path that could lead to uncovering the true horrors nestled within Bedlam? His breath caught in his throat as he stepped into the darkness, shivering at the ripple of shadows playing tricks on his mind. The deeper he moved into the alley, the more oppressive the fog became. Finally reaching the end, he was met not just with the echoes of his footfalls but with the outline of an ancient door, splintered and gnarled as if it had been waiting centuries to be awakened. The silent challenge of the key hung heavy in his pocket. What lay beyond this locked door? Would it reveal forbidden truths or unleash unthinkable nightmares? Raising the key, Thomas felt its cold weight resonate with his pulse. This was no ordinary key. This was a harbinger. He could almost hear the whispers of long-lost souls begging to be freed or perhaps silenced forever. Just as he was about to insert it into the lock, a scream cut through the night, a guttural wail that twisted the air like a dagger, causing his hands to tremble. "Run!" Someone shouted from the street, heart pounding. Thomas froze. Shadows danced wildly around him, and he became acutely aware that he was not alone. The awakened secrets weren't just echoes of the past, they were here, hungry for the living. Would he brave the door, or would he flee from whatever horrors brewed just behind? The night held its breath, and destiny pulsed relentlessly, urging him to make a choice. But choice was a luxury in the darkness, and the clock was ticking down to a moment that would change everything. What awaited his decision? Was he ready to face the depths of the madness behind that door? As he stood, heart racing and breath ragged, a figure emerged from the mist. Behind him, confirming his deepest fears. Would he unravel the truth or become another lost soul in this unforgiving city? The answer hung heavy in the air, desiring to spill into the night. A chill ran down Thomas's spine as he turned, gripping the key tightly in his fist. The figure that had emerged from the mist was cloaked in deep shadows, their presence ominous and tangible. He was struck by the sight, a gaunt face, sunken eyes gazing at him with an unsettling familiarity. "Thomas," the figure rasped, voice cracked like ancient parchment. "It's been a long time. Who are you?" He managed, every muscle in his body tensed for flight. The alley felt narrower, the very bricks closing in around him. The air thickened with an unnameable dread. The figure took a step closer, the gaslight catching on a familiar ring adorning their finger. It was the same ring Thomas had given to his sister, so many years ago. "Your sister, she needs you." "No," he breathed, shaking his head. "She's gone. I lost her." The memories flooded back, painful and sharp as shards of glass. He could still recall the night she disappeared, the police whispers, the laughter that faded into echoes of despair. "You're lying." But the figure only smiled sadly, a grim twitch of their lips. "Lies, truths, they intertwine like the threads of fate. You're only beginning to understand." Behind him, the sound of rapid footsteps echoed from the street, growing faint. Thomas's heart raced. He could feel the electric pulse of fear coursing through him. He had to choose: escape this specter of the past or dig deeper into the darkness that had claimed so many lives. "What do you know?" he demanded, feeling a desperate urgency. "The key, it unlocks what lies beneath. But beware, what you seek may draw you into the heart of Bedlam itself." A shiver ran through the figure, and a cloud of darkness flitted around them like a living shroud. Many souls wander in shadows. They yearn for release. You could be their savior or their curse. Panic soared within Thomas. The memories pressed against him, heavy and consuming. Could he bear the weight of his sister's fate? Was her spirit still trapped, waiting for him to set her free? Thomas's mind raced, grasping at the options. He could flee, join the crowd outside, and wash his hands of the darkness. Or follow this haunting apparition into the unknown, risking everything on the hope that he might uncover the truth. Sudden screams split the night air again, mingling with frantic footsteps. Sounds of chaos erupted from the street, rising like a tempest, shaking the very cobblestones beneath his feet. "Help them," the figure said, voice commanding yet strangely sympathetic. "Face the darkness. It's the only way. Your sister, she is waiting." Then, just as quickly as they appeared, the figure began to dissolve into the shadows. Panic turned to resolve, and Thomas found himself moving before he could think. He was through the doorway, key in hand, ready to confront whatever horrors lay behind. As the lock clicked open, a rush of air flooded out, carrying whispers, a cacophony of lost souls merging into one haunting melody. He stepped through, eyes wide in awe and terror. What lay beyond the door? Mysteries unfurling like smoke, the screams fading into an echoing silence, luring him deeper into a world where innocence and madness danced as one. He could feel the walls of Bedlam closing in around him, revealing secrets that had long been buried. And then, just before he crossed the threshold, a voice pierced through the stillness. "Don't look back, Thomas, or you may lose yourself forever." Surrounded by darkness, he hesitated, but the door creaked open again, inviting him in. The choice remained, but the air crackled with something ominous, an echo reminding him that behind every door lies a truth that could shatter everything. What awaited him in that realm of shadows? Would he be strong enough to confront the madness? Or would this perilous journey swallow him whole? As Thomas stepped through the door, the air transformed around him. Gone was the comforting chill of the night, it was replaced by a suffocating warmth that clung to his skin like a heavy blanket. The whispers grew louder, dancing around him, tugging at his consciousness. Each echo felt like a memory, frayed and out of reach, urging him deeper into the shadows ahead. He blinked, adjusting to the dim, flickering light that illuminated the room. Rows of crumbling bookshelves loomed over him, filled with volumes whose titles faded into murky obscurity. Strange symbols marked the spines, cryptic languages of a past better left forgotten. Dust motes swirled in the air, catching the light like tiny stars fading in an infinite night. "Welcome, Thomas," a voice purred from the darkness. It was soft, but it layered in threats, a velvet glove hiding a steel fist. "Who's there?" He turned frantically, heart pounding. His palms grew clammy as he felt the weight of unseen eyes watching him from every corner of the room. From the shadows emerged a figure, draped in a tattered robe, the edges frayed as if they had been clawed at by desperation. An edge of silver hair clung stubbornly to their forehead, framing a face marked by deep lines, each one telling a story. "Do not be afraid," the figure began, their icy blue eyes piercing through the dimness. "I am here to guide you through the labyrinth of truths." Thomas could only manage a tight-lipped nod, his throat dry. The very air tasted bitter, thick with uncertainty and the remnants of power that had once held dominion over this place. "Why did you bring me here?" he demanded, a tremor of anger creeping into his voice. "What do you know about my sister?" "Ah, your sister." The figure smiled softly, but the expression was hollow. "Her spirit wanders in these chambers, tethered to the secrets that bind this realm. To find her, you must confront the echoes of your own past. Tell me." He half yelled, desperation spilling over. "I didn't come here for games. I want to know what happened." With a wave of their hand, the figure beckoned Thomas to follow. They stepped toward a large wooden table, covered with faded photographs and cracked mirrors, an antique collection that breathed sorrow. "Look closely, Thomas," they said gently. "Each reflection holds a truth. Each photograph, a fragment of memory that has slipped through the fingers of time." He hesitated, feeling an eerie pull toward the items. But as he leaned in, a wave of emotion flooded him: horror, sorrow, love, and loss all stirred together like a storm. His breath caught in his throat. One photograph caught his eye, a young girl, radiant and full of life. Her laughter seemed to leap from the image, only to be snuffed out in a silence he felt in his bones. "Is that her?" Thomas whispered. "Yes," the figure replied, their voice low and solemn. "But this is only the beginning. What you see here may shake the very foundation of your sanity." Thomas steeled himself. He had come too far to turn back now. Before he could ask more, the soft tinkling of bells erupted from the shadows, and the air grew colder. "Beware the keeper," the figure warned, their eyes narrowing. "It awakens when secrets are unearthed. You must tread carefully, for it guards truths that could ruin you." A horrific clatter echoed in the corners. Wood creaked, and shadows danced wildly as if something profound had disturbed the fabric of this place. Panic surged. What is the keeper?" Thomas stammered, feeling the walls close in around him, suffocating. "An echo of all that was lost," the figure replied, the tremor in their voice betraying fear. "Face it, and you may find what you seek or succumb to its madness." The floor rumbled beneath him, a sound like a heartbeat drumming against his eardrums. Just then, a piercing wail echoed through the room, and the shadows seemed to claw at his feet, threatening to pull him into their depths. Thomas took a shaky step forward into the maelstrom of truth he had unleashed. What awaited him in the depths of Bedlam, and would he survive the revelations hidden within? The ground trembled again, and a voice screeched, growing louder, "You think you're prepared? The truth is more frightening than the lie." As the chaos swirled, Thomas's resolve wavered. Would his next step lead him to salvation or into the abyss? Thomas inhaled sharply as the piercing wail echoed through the dark, transforming into a chorus of muffled cries. Panic clawed at his gut, and he stumbled back, unsure whether to flee or face the haunting truths swirling around him. The figure in the tattered robe remained still, however, a stone statue amidst the torrent of emotion. "Stay close," they urged, their voice trembling but firm. "The keeper is near, and it senses your fear." Suddenly, the shadows shifted. They darted towards him like frightened animals escaping a predator. An electric chill ran up Thomas's spine, and he felt as if the very air thick and warm moments ago had turned to ice. "What do I do?" he gasped. The table seemed to vibrate under the weight of unseen burdens, and the photographs flickered with light, revealing more faces than just that of the young girl. Flashes of sorrow, anger, despair all crashing into him like waves. "Confront it," the figure commanded, forcing his gaze to the table. "Reveal what lies hidden. Only then can you hope to understand." Thomas hesitated as the air quivered around him. Each photograph was a portal to another moment, a glance into something he yearned to forget but couldn't. He reached out, trembling fingers hovering over the young girl's face in the photo. That face. It was both a beacon of hope and a chain dragging him into darkness. Suddenly, with a deafening crash, the wooden floorboard splintered, and a dark presence surged forward. The keeper. An amorphous shadow, a whirlpool of anguish and rage, began to take shape before him. Its edges were sharp, like glass, yet it exuded a sorrow that tugged at his heart. For a brief moment, Thomas caught a glimpse of twisted, pleading faces within its depths, crying out, begging for release. "Why are you here?" it roared, its voice a cacophony of whimpers and howls. "Why do you seek what should remain buried?" "I want to save her," Thomas shouted back, heart racing. That resolve surged back within him. "I need to find my sister." The keeper laughed, a haunting, echoing sound filled with despair. "Save her? You wish to unearth that which is best forgotten. Truth is a double-edged sword, boy, and you may cut more than just the shadows." Terror gripped Thomas's chest as he thought of the girl. Was finding her worth the risk? But as the keeper swelled, threatening to consume him, he felt the urgency. He had to try. He had to push through the darkness. With every ounce of strength, he leaned closer to the photographs, desperate to see connections, to find the thin thread connecting him to her. The figure beside him seemed to sense his struggle and whispered just above the chaos, "You must accept your own truth first. Only then will the keeper relent." "Accept what?" he cried, desperation bubbling over. "What more can I face?" "Your pain," the figure responded quietly. "Your fear, your blame, those will be the keys, but you must decide. Are you prepared to confront that which you hide?" The keeper twisted violently, shadows spiraling around Thomas, drowning him in darkness. He could feel his grip on sanity begin to slip as whispers crept into his mind, echoing his own doubts and guilt. "I can't," Thomas shouted back against the waves of shadow. "Then you will be lost." The keeper shrieked, expanding, its form engulfing the room, the light slowly fading. As he felt the grip of despair reach for him, a memory flashed in his mind, the girl's laughter, bright and innocent, mingling with his sorrow. How could he let fear silence that joy? He closed his eyes, centering himself amidst the chaos. "Fine," he exclaimed with newfound determination. "I choose to face it." The shadows hesitated, and in that brief pause, the echoes began to quiet. Each heartbeat felt louder than thunder, but Thomas dug into memories he had buried long ago. He could almost hear her voice calling him to stand tall against the storm. With that, he opened his eyes, staring directly into the swirling void of the keeper. A whirlwind of regret and courage surged inside him. "Show me what truly happened," he demanded, feeling a strength he hadn't known before surge through him. As the shadows trembled, daring him, the room brightened with shimmering light. The chaos around him subsided momentarily, and then silence, but just as quickly, the keeper lunged again, its form menacing and chaotic. Thomas braced himself. A single thought echoed through his mind: what awaited him in this dance between truth and madness could either shatter him or set him free. The shadows lurked, the truth prepared to strike. Would he emerge whole, or would this dark labyrinth consume him entirely? The air crackled as the keeper lunged, its dark form stretching outward like a predatory beast. Thomas felt the floor tremble beneath his feet, the lost girl's laughter now twisted into a sinister echo that taunted him. He could hardly breathe, the weight of the shadows pressing down on his chest like a vice. "Show me," he shouted, his heart pounding against his ribs. He couldn't look away from the swirling abyss of despair and rage. The light flickered dangerously around him, revealing fleeting glimpses of lost souls caught in the keeper's grasp, their mouths opening in silent screams. "You want the truth?" The keeper's voice slithered through the darkness, dripping with malice. "Very well. Let us expose the horrors you hide." With a violent shudder, the shadows surged, and the photographs erupted into a blinding flash. Images flashed by, too fast to comprehend, until one moment caught him like a barbed wire around his throat, a little girl in a sunlit garden, running with abandon, golden curls bouncing. That familiar laughter rang true, echoing wildly in his mind: his sister. He reached out, desperate for connection, but the vision twisted grotesquely. The sunlight dimmed and shadows encroached, dark hands reaching for the little girl, grasping her with a chilling hunger. "Stop," he screamed. "What happened to her?" The keeper beat back, volume rising like a tempest. "You think to salvage her by embracing the darkness? You have long run from this truth. Your weakness is what ensnared her." Thomas could feel the bile rise in his throat, the truth sharp as a dagger tip. Did he have the strength to admit his failures, his guilt? The figure at his side had spoken of it, but confronting the wreckage of his past felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, prepared to leap from safety into uncertainty. "You've hidden behind your walls, boy," the keeper taunted, tendrils of shadow swirling dangerously close. "Face what you've done. How many times did you turn away when she needed you most? How many more calls did you ignore? No." Panic bubbled inside him, clawing to escape, but there it was, that insistent gnawing truth he'd buried deep. His sister's pleas had echoed through his mind often, but he chose to block them out. Let me in. The keeper rasped, its form writhing with intensity. Only then can you save yourself and her. Instinctively, Thomas reared back, but then clarity surged through him. Breaching those emotional walls felt like cracking open a cursed vault. He felt unsteady, trembling not just from fear but from something raw, a flicker of determination. Okay, he whispered, looking the keeper in its dark, swirling void. I admit it. I was afraid to be responsible. I ran when I should. Ve stood firm. The shadows hesitated, as if weighing his words, their relentless rush dampening for a heartbeat. That's a start. The keeper intoned slowly, its voice now layered with intrigue. But truth is not a bomb, it's a fire. If you wish to continue, you will be consumed. Your past will engulf you. Thomas felt the heat rise as a profound fear coiled in his gut. He could either give in to the consuming dread or untangle the threads of his past, threads that led to her. I don't care. He declared, a tremor of hope bursting forth. I will face it. I need her back. With that declaration, the keeper's shadows twisted chaotically. A howling tempest roared, extinguishing the light from the room, leaving only a flicker in Thomas's heart. As darkness swallowed him whole, he felt warmth radiate, a flicker of his sister's laughter rising in defiance against the encroaching void. Perhaps the path through was not one of mere acceptance but of love. Love he thought lost, now ignited again. Embrace her, the keeper hissed. But know this, what you find might end you. Suddenly, the shadows intensified. Will Thomas find the way to rescue his sister, or will the truth drown him in a tide of dark revelations? The keeper's laughter echoed as reality began to crack around him, splintering like glass, and Thomas was left teetering on the edge of oblivion. Thomas felt his body being pulled into the void, tumbling through an endless expanse suffocated by darkness. Time lost meaning as he spiraled down, his heart racing. The keeper's laughter echoed like a sinister wind, wrapping around him, freezing his thoughts. Where was he going? More importantly, what awaited him on the other side? Abruptly, he landed on a hard surface, the impact jarring. Gasping, he pushed himself up, hands scraping against cold, rough ground. Confusion swallowed him as the darkness began to recede, revealing a twisted landscape bathed in an eerie twilight glow. Shadows danced at the edges, teasing him with familiar shapes. Where am I? He breathed, scanning the barren surroundings. The air felt thick, oppressive, and with every breath, he could taste the remnants of fear and despair. Suddenly, a soft sound pierced the silence, a faint giggle. Thomas's heart jolted in recognition. It sounded like her. Emily? He stumbled forward, following the sound, each step an effort against the pressing darkness that seemed to reach out and grab at him. His senses heightened, the smell of damp earth and pine disturbed by something rotten filled the air, prompting his stomach to churn. Emily! He called out, desperation clawing at his throat. The giggle echoed again, closer now, almost teasing. It floated through the air like floating dust motes, leading him to a clearing. The moment he stepped into the light, the scene exploded into living color, sunshine filtering through the trees, warming the air. It was a garden, their garden, but this wasn't the place he remembered. The flowers were wilted, a grotesque version of their former beauty, clinging pathetically to life. The once vibrant blooms were now dark and twisted, reaching for him like ghastly arms. Thomas felt a chill run down his spine. This was no sanctuary, it was a trap. Emily, where are you? His voice was raw, desperation strangling him. Behind him, the shadows thickened. The keeper's presence was a constant reminder of the very darkness he was trying to escape. It wasn't just watching, it was feeding off his fear, turning the hope he clung to into something deadly. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a flash of golden curls. His heart surged, racing with exhilaration and fear. Emily! He darted towards the glimmer of light, but as he reached out, the figure dissipated like smoke. No, no! Come back! Panic gripped him. Did you think it would be that easy? The keeper's voice slithered through the air with a triumphant sneer. You cannot reach her without confronting your own shadows. Shut up. Thomas shouted, anger merging with fear. The shadows shifted around him, writhing in protest. I'll face them. I'll do whatever it takes. Very well, but be warned, the keeper growled, its form coiling with eagerness. You will have to confront the choices you made, the moments that led to her capture. Every decision will be laid bare. Are you prepared to see what you avoided? I have to be, he breathed, heart echoing in his ears. With each word, the landscape morphed again, colors swirling chaotically until he found himself standing before a small, rickety house. The familiar sound of laughter hung in the air, but it was different now, distorted, tainted. Every window was dark, like eyes watching from the brink of despair. The door creaked open slowly. Emily, he stepped forward, uncertainty gnawing at his insides. Where are you? As he entered the house, he felt a cold wind blow past him, carrying whispers that echoed his deepest regrets. He could feel the keeper's anticipation wrapping around his throat, squeezing tighter. Face it, the keeper hissed, its voice mingling with the whispers. Understand the truth, or lose her forever. Before him, shadows shifted into shapes of the past, memories of neglect, moments he chose fear over love. The sight twisted his stomach, clawing at his heart. Thomas braced himself against the wall, a wave of nausea washing over him. He could feel it, the weight of his choices crashing down. His throat tightened with despair, but he couldn't look away. Are you ready to embrace the truth? The keeper goaded. This was it. One step closer to finding his sister or sealing their fate. But as the shadows loomed larger, slithering through the air, he felt the ground shift beneath him. Was he truly prepared for what lay ahead? Emily, he whispered, the name both a prayer and a promise. What would he find beyond this door? And just as the door creaked open wider, revealing the blurred outline of a little girl, the world around him shattered into oblivion once more. Thomas felt gravity shift, a disorienting pull tugging at his senses as the fragments of the shattered world reformed around him. The colors fused together, swirling like paint on a canvas. When the chaos settled, he found himself in a familiar yet unsettling place, a dimly lit corridor of his childhood home. The walls were lined with family portraits, captures of happier times, yet their smiles seemed to distort in the low flickering light. Shadows whispered from the corners, taunting him like echoes of lost memories. Emily? He called, but his voice sounded thin, nearly swallowed by the silence as he stepped forward, the floorboards creaking beneath his weight. Each sound felt amplified, a reminder of his solitude. The air was thick and heavy, laden with unspoken words and regret. The walls seemed to pulse, alive with the weight of secrets he had buried deep in his heart. Then, from the end of the corridor, he heard it again, a giggle, soft yet chilling. It was unmistakable Emily. With desperate hope, he pushed forward, but a sudden chill ran down his spine, the whispers around him morphing into haunting questions. Why did you leave her behind? Did you forget about her? He gritted his teeth, shaking his head as if to block out their accusations. I didn't forget. I was afraid. Each admission came as a jagged breath, tearing at his insides. But the keeper's laughter echoed back, a sinister wind that made his skin crawl. You think fear is the only price to pay? The keeper's voice slinked through the corridor, wrapping around him like a snake. You've misplaced your priorities, Thomas. You sacrificed her for your own cowardice. A door stood at the end of the corridor, slightly ajar. Beyond it, a soft glow flickered, casting shadows that danced against the walls. It felt like a beacon, calling him closer. But as he reached for the handle, the air crackled with tension. What if you're too late? The keeper taunted, its breath a cold whisper against his ear. What if finding her means losing yourself completely? With a surge of defiance, Thomas shook off the doubt. I won't let you win. He flung the door open, ready to confront whatever lay behind it. Inside, the room was bathed in golden light, an illusion of serenity. Toys were scattered across the floor, her toys remnants of laughter and innocence now overshadowed by despair. And there, in the center, was a small figure, back turned to him. Emily? He stepped forward, heart pounding. She turned slowly, and his breath caught. Her eyes, usually bright with joy, were hollow, reflecting a haunting sadness that sent a fresh wave of panic through him. Thomas, she spoke, her voice fragile, as if she were a ghost lingering on the edge of the living world. You took too long, Emily. I'm here now. We can leave together. He reached out, but the air thickened, a wall of grief rising between them. What if I don't want to go back? She asked, her voice quivering. What if I belong here? No. The denial tore through him. This isn't where you belong. We have to escape the dark. The shadows in the room coalesced, forming grotesque figures that mirrored his deepest fears. They lunged at him, claws outstretched, as if to remind him of the decisions he had made. Face them. The keeper's voice roared with glee. Face the truth of your neglect. With each step Thomas took towards Emily, he felt the weight of his past pressing down. He was forced to relive moments of weakness, each one a dagger to his heart. He had abandoned her. He chose safety over bravery. As the shadows swirled around him, he stumbled, struggling against the tide of regret. Emily! He cried out, but despair threatened to drown him, and just as he thought he might be swept away, Emily's voice broke the chaos. Thomas! Remember why you're here. It pierced through the darkness, cutting to the core of his resolve. He didn't just need to face his fears, he had to reclaim the love they once shared, the connection they couldn't lose. With renewed determination, he stepped forward again, refusing to be paralyzed by his guilt. I'm not leaving you this time. We fight together. But the shadows lunged, and as they engulfed him again, a single thought crystallized. What if he couldn't save her? The room erupted into chaos, love and fear battling like titans, and just as Thomas reached for Emily's hands, darkness swallowed him again, plunging him into a void filled with uncertainty. What choice would he make now? Would this be the final moment, or the start of their true fight? In the oppressive darkness, Thomas felt weightless, as if the very fabric of his existence was stripped away. He was adrift in an abyss where memories swirled like autumn leaves caught in a storm. A cold sweat trickled down his brow, fear tightened its icy grip around his heart. Where was Emily? Suddenly, a flicker of light pierced through the void, illuminating the shadows that clawed at him. He blinked, and before him appeared a fractured reflection of his childhood home, yet grimmer, brushed with dark hues and edged with fear. The whispers returned, more pronounced, pressing against his ears. You can't run from this, you can't escape your choices. He stumbled forward, throwing himself into the light, and landed hard on the floor. The familiar smell of the old wood filled his lungs. Thomas gasped, his heart racing as he stood. He was back in the playroom, the place where laughter once echoed. The toys lay scattered as they had been moments before, but now they felt ominously still, waiting. Emily, he shouted, a desperate cry that reverberated off the walls. She wasn't there. The silence mocked him, a deafening solitude. He stepped timidly deeper into the room, aware that each creak of the floorboards hung in the air like a warning. What had he unleashed? And then he recalled her hollow eyes, the look of abandonment that had pierced him. Her voice, echoing in his mind. What if I don't want to go back? Thomas gripped his head, trying to shut out the thoughts clawing at his sanity. He had to find her. He could not let despair win again. Just as he resolved to push the shadows aside, they twisted and contorted, slithering towards him like serpents, hungry for his failures. Face them. The keeper thundered again, the sound shaking the very foundations of his childhood sanctuary. You think love shields you? Love is a weapon or a prison. You choose. The shadows morphed, revealing grotesque figures, each one a personification of his worst moments, his selfishness, his cowardice. They loomed over him, their eyes burning with the weight of his regrets, whispering in cruel taunts, "You chose wrong, Thomas. You let her down. No." He clenched his fists, summoning every ounce of strength. "I will not let you take her from me." Each word was a battle cry. The figures shrank back slightly, but their presence still loomed. Then, from the corner of his eye, he spotted something, a tiny glimmer beneath the scuffed edge of a toy chest. He crouched, heart pounding, and dug through the dust and regret until he grasped a familiar object, Emily's favorite stuffed bear, frayed and worn but filled with the essence of her joy. He cradled the bear to his chest, breathing deeper as memories flooded back, her laughter, her unyielding spirit. "Emily," he whispered, feeling the warmth of hope reignite. "I won't let you be lost here." With renewed determination, he stood tall against the shadows. "I will face the truth. I won't hide from my mistakes. I will bring you home." His voice thundered against the walls, a declaration that echoed through the chaos. As the shadows recoiled slightly, a beam of light broke through the darkness, illuminating the door that had remained closed. It glimmered with an inviting warmth, whispering promises of safety and reunion. But would crossing that threshold cost him everything? The keeper's laughter crawled up his spine, dark and mocking. "You want her back? But what if the price is your very soul?" Thomas hesitated just a fraction, and in that moment, the shadows surged forward with renewed fury, fueled by his uncertainty. Holding the bear tighter, he screamed into the chaos, "I will not let fear take her away again." But as he sprinted toward the door, the ground beneath him seemed to tremble. What if the truth he sought was more twisted than he ever imagined? Heart racing, he pushed the door open, the light spilling forth as his mind screamed for clarity, desperate to step into an unknown, wondering what awaited him on the other side. Thomas stumbled through the door, the radiant light pouring over him like a warm embrace. He was greeted by a swirling mass of colors, a cacophony of sound, laughter, and whispers. It felt different here, more alive. Then he saw her. Emily stood in the distance, bathed in sunlight that cascaded through the trees, her golden curls shimmering like spun gold. "Thomas!" she called, her voice a melody that melted his heart. Every fragment of doubt and despair fell away as he rushed toward her. When they were finally face to face, a profound desperation clawed at him. Was this illusion? Or reality? "Emily!" he shouted, his voice hoarse with emotion. "We can go home. I found you." But as he reached out to grasp her hands, a shadow flickered behind her, icy and consuming. The keeper's laughter echoed, intertwining with Emily's laughter, distorting the sounds until they became one cacophony of dread. "You think this is it? Nothing is free, Thomas. What price are you willing to pay to hold her again?" Thomas froze, heart racing. "I'll pay anything," he yelled, as warmth spilled from his heart to his fingertips. "I've lived in shadows long enough. I will not lose her again." Emily's smile wavered. "You're going to confront it? The truth?" Her eyes shimmered, reflecting the flickering light around them. "You know what that means." "I do," he shouted over the growing murmur of darkness, standing tall against the encroaching shadows. "What I did, the choices I made, they don't define us. I'm sorry. I will face my fears and the darkness within, but this time, we face it together." His voice rang through the fading echoes, and he felt a surge of courage. The keeper roared, "Foolish boy. You think love can shield you from the truth? Let us see how brave you really are." The shadows lunged, ready to claw back what they once had. "Not today," Thomas screamed. He took Emily's hands in his, ignoring the dark tendrils swirling around them. "Together." As he felt Emily's warmth seep into him, the shadows paused, hesitating. Was it the strength of their bond that made the darkness waver, or the purity of his resolve? "Stand strong. The figure in tattered robes had told him. Thomas lifted his chin, gripping Emily's hands tighter. Together we can break this curse. With that declaration, he focused on the light radiating from Emily, visualizing the love they shared as a bright shield against the Keeper's darkness. They needed to confront the pain, the regrets, but now, not as fractured souls, but as a united force. In a moment of clarity, he closed his eyes, forcing every memory of joy and sorrow to the forefront. Each moment spent together, every hug, every shared secret, became a bulwark against the shadows threatening to drown him. He opened himself to the memories of fear and guilt, embracing them as part of their story instead of allowing them to control him. Enough! Thomas shouted, shaking free of the Keeper's grip. You win through fear. I take responsibility for my choices, but I reclaim the power of love between us. The shadows trembled, their grasp faltering as the light from Emily intertwined with his own. The Keeper screeched, thrashing wildly, its power waning. Face the truth, Keeper. Thomas shouted. As long as we embrace our love and our past, we are stronger than shadows. And just like that, the light pushed back against the darkness, splitting it like a crack of thunder. A blinding flash erupted, and the Keeper shrieked, retreating into the depths, defeated by the very truth it wanted to keep hidden. As the chaos settled, Thomas felt the ground beneath him shift as the weight of despair fell away. The garden transformed into a blossoming vista of color and light, rich with life and promise. The warmth of the sun felt real, vibrant against their skin, and the echoes of the past lost their power. Together, Emily murmured, tears glistening in her eyes as she squeezed his hands. Together, he echoed back, breathing in the wonder as surroundings transformed into a place of peace. The shadows receded fully, leaving behind only the memory of their struggle, each scar a testament to their bond now forged in resilience. At that moment, Thomas realized they weren't just free from those walls of shadows, they had reclaimed their lives, their love, and each other. The journey through darkness taught him that acknowledging pain didn't diminish their bond, it strengthened it. With one last glance at the empty threshold of shadows looming behind them, he turned to Emily. Let us go home. Hand in hand, they stepped forward into the vibrant world ahead, ready to embrace whatever life would hold for them together, knowing they had faced the darkness and emerged into the light. But as they walked off into the distance, the Keeper's laughter echoed faintly somewhere far, reminding that true journeys of love and pain linger on, waiting for new truths to be faced. Now it is your turn to step into your own journey. Don't wait another moment. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories waiting just for you. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and support the adventure. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about Thomas's journey and what lies beyond. And please, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who deserve to experience this conclusion. Together, let us embark on new adventures, but remember, every moment counts.